All right, I'll be back in about 3 minutes and we'll get things started, everybody. All right, thank you everybody for joining, and we are going to get started. So I hope everybody can see my screen at this point. If you cannot, please just leave me a comment and we'll figure out how to best get things going. So as stated before in some of my articles and in the last video that we tried out, we do extensive research on collision and the type of collision that occurred with this vehicle or any vehicle that we touch for ADAS calibrations. That comes from cooperation with the body shop and years of learning what to do, how to do, why to do, and when to do. So I made a video about how to search OE information. I'm going to probably share that within the next week or so once that's ready, and that'll help give everybody an idea for how you can search based on this actual car. So you will have a frame of reference and you'll be able to tie it back to how to go to Toyota and execute the same searches. And doing that in multiple vehicle manufacturers' websites is very similar. There are some that are a little bit wonky or confusing, but once you understand one, you get a little bit of a framework and it just helps you get better at searching each other. So on this vehicle, we have two calibrations that are necessary. The first one is the millimeter wave radar. So we did that on the Prius last week, and we're going to do it again today. And the second one is the parking assist intelligence clearing sonar registration. So that's quite a mouthful to say. I don't even know if I got that right, to be entirely honest. But essentially what Toyota is saying is when you remove and replace the bumper, these sensors have obviously moved from their previous position. So they need you to check their angle and from their angle, see that it meets specifications that Toyota gives you. So these are the angles that are allowed for the front bumper, the rear bumper, and it changes for the style of radiator grille that your vehicle has. Toyota is really good with putting all this information on here. So if you were working on a Toyota truck and the owner updated the radiator grille and you need to perform a calibration, they will actually have the correct data for you to use. I guess this is a bad example on the ultrasonic sensors, but in terms of the radiator grills and the cruise radars, they will tell you exactly what specs should be for that exact grille, making life really easy for people who swap out parts on some of their Toyota trucks. So essentially, Toyota wants us to register their height and register their angle. And if it meets specification, they will record that data and then use it when parking. This is a tedious service, if you will, because Toyota wants you to measure the ground around you first to make sure that the angle is within a specification for the calibration, or the registration rather. And they give you this chart to fill out where you can put in all the information. You have to then perform some basic mathematical calculations, and it'll tell you if your floor is good enough to perform this registration. Our floor is good enough. We have performed this multiple times. We could literally repeat and rinse, or rinse and repeat. We did this 2 weeks ago on a Lexus. But for today's exercise, I'm going to show you how we line up a car, how we would perform the millimeter wave radar and the intelligence clearance sonar registration with our alignment method. So our alignment method is essentially devised from many years of practicing. Let me check the comments to make sure that everything is good. No comments. All right, we're good. So our alignment method is devised from many years of practice. And what we realized is manufacturers are all trying to get you to do one thing. They want you to make the most perfect bounding box around the car that you're working on. And the reason they want you to do that is because wherever they tell you to put their target or their device to measure, for lack of a better term, it needs to be consistent with how the vehicle is supposed to see it. Once we realize that our bounding lines are really the most important part of the entire process. And if we could get that done correctly and quickly, we could perform calibrations at a pretty fast pace. So in today's exercise, we're hoping to get this done in under an hour. Regardless if we do or do not, I'm going to cut the time at an hour. I would like to give everybody the opportunity to ask some questions and see if anybody has feedback or suggestions on what we could be doing differently, how we could be doing things better. Overall, we're here to learn, and we're here to tell you guys what we've learned and how we apply it every day. So I am going to stop sharing my screen here and try and transfer out to the shop. I think the software we're using today works. So I'll see you guys in a minute. So I may have not done this properly in the beginning, but my name is Ricardo De Cruz, and I represent Joman Auto Service and Complete Auto Reports. Today we are working on a 2018 Toyota Camry, non-hybrid. There was a minor front-end accident where the bumper was slightly damaged, the hood was slightly damaged, and the bumper had to be removed, the radar sensor, all of the parking sensors. And because of this, we now require a millimeter wave radar calibration and parking sensor registration. So we are going to get this vehicle set up, and we're going to get our process started. Before I do, I'm going to show you the tools that I'm going to use today. And somebody had mentioned that they would like a list of these tools. We'll work on making a video showing everybody what we use and where you can get it. If you cannot hear audio, please drop me a message so I can see that and try and fix it, but I think audio is working correctly. So these are the tools that we are going to be using today. We will not be using the calibration frame because we have absolutely no purpose for that in the millimeter wave radar
or in the parking registration. We will be using our protective blanket, the 2 Texa lasers that came with the Texa setup, some other lasers that we have acquired. These are millimeter rulers. Turn this down. There we go. So these are millimeter rulers. These are Bosch squares. So this is the Toyota tool for this service, which I do not ever have a good time with. And this is the tool that I have made for this service. So we'll talk more about that at a different time if you guys have questions. But this is the setup I will be using for our exercise today. So I'm going to put the camera down now, and I'm going to set our vehicle up and get things going. Pull it forward a little bit more. So our first step is going to be checking tire pressure. Manufacturer states 35 psi all the way around. pictures as I'm going for proof. So I don't forget, I usually put the caps right back on. Otherwise, we'll forget. Forgot to show the plumb bob. Okay, so now I focus on making my sidewalks. So I use these targets to help me make a center line to the wheel. And as I know they're perfectly level, I then make a line that goes all the way down and hits each target dead center. So that is how I make the line for each side of the body. So I've done the passenger side line. Now I'm going to do the driver side line. That one I won't show you, but the concept is the same.
so I got my center line hitting here. I don't know if you guys can see the reflection of the green hitting the plumb bob. So that is my point. Leave that there just in case we need it later. So now, Toyota wants 3,000 millimeters from the center line. And then they want some strange measurements for the registration. So let's see, 100 millimeters and 350 millimeters from the front. So I'm going to make my front line, and then I'm going to make my 3,000 millimeter line. So using the 90s, I can set up my line to coincide with the Stanley that I used in the back and my 3,000 millimeter mark here. And following this line and keeping it in line with the back, I can make my 90. So there, I'm happy with that now and my square. This tip measure is pink, so I'm going to use the one that is not. So now I can put the tape measure dead center with the green line, and the back of the tape measure is dead center with the same green line. So I know that I'm exactly where I need to be in terms of alignment with the vehicle. I'll show you guys this in a minute, but I'm just setting my lines right now. So now for the angle check, they want it off the front, dead center with each wheel. You can do this by eye, because they don't even give you precise measurements. I line it up more or less so it's parallel to my outside line and with the center of the tire, which is what the diagram shows you on Toyota. And then I lay out my 1,000 millimeter rulers alongside of it to make my markings where I need them. All right, so I'm going to grab the camera now and I'm going to show you what this looks like. So there's our 90 that goes back. You can see it's a super bold line, and it's hitting the center of our Stanley. So that is how we know that we are on the same line. From there, we make our 90, and we pass it through our center point, which is right there. I think you guys can see the color differentiation. That cuts across and gives us our driver's side line. We then line up our 1,000mm rulers and make a mark at 100 and at 350. So I have to do the same thing for the back, but I wanted to show you what it actually looks like. And for our wave radar, there's our line. So we are going to put this down. I'm going to make my lines in the back, and then I'm going to proceed. Thank you for all of your patience and for all of you guys watching. I truly hope I'm providing a service of value. Try to move this back a little bit, see if that works out. So here, I could use my vertical line and see how it hits the rear bumper to make my 90, because again, Toyota doesn't really provide precision. I'm done with my Stanley lasers, and they're kind of in my way. Oh, actually, this one I'm not done with yet. I need to make 190 up here. So I'm making my 90 for the wave radar. There's a really specific reason for this. I'll explain that when I get there. I just want to make sure I am set up accordingly first. Okay, so my 90 is set in the front. I can take my Stanleys down now. so now I'm essentially done with all of my lasers except for my center and my right angle right there. So I'm going to put all of these away so I don't trip over them. I will need my ruler again. Here is my park assist sheet, and now I'm going to fill it out. So Toyota wants you to take measurements of degrees of the floor, pretty much where you made your 100 millimeter and 350 millimeter marks. And the sum and division of all of these will tell you if the floor is good enough. Now, Toyota is very kind and they give you a little bit of leeway. So it's really not hard if you have a halfway decent floor, because you can move it in any direction. I think it's like 50 millimeters, like 1.97 inches, give or take, I believe is what they said. So being able to shift it around slightly lets you find where you need to be. So right on it, I am at 0.1 on point D. Now I'm going to go to point C. I am also 0.1. Keep forgetting to take pictures of this because I'm so used to just doing it and not talking about it. So now we are going over to point A. So if you think this is cumbersome with this one, try doing it with the Toyota one. So 0.2 for A. Zero point 0.2 for B. Point 2 for E. Point 2 for F. 0.0 for G. And 0.1 for H. So now the next thing we need to do is measure the height on each sensor, and then we will measure the angles. And then we'll perform their mathematical calculation just to go over it. So some of these bumpers stick out. This is kind of hard to get precise. So you have to try and do it the best you can. So here we are at about 570 millimeters to the center. Here we are about 450. Here we are also 450. So here, I think we're about 575. Looks like where we're landing at. Like I said, it's a little hard to do because of the way the bumper comes out. Make sure that's right. I think I had 550 on the other side. Let's see if I can do this like that. Yeah, this is between 575 and 580. I'm just going to recheck that side because I think that's a pretty big skew. Yeah, this one is 570. I don't know if I said 570 before, or maybe I wrote something else down, but this is why we double check things. So now, yeah, I definitely wrote 550. It's definitely 570. So now the only thing left for me to do is to get their angle measurements. So again, utilizing our tool here. We will zero down and measure our angle. So here we have 84.8. Yeah, about 84.8 to 85. So now you have to subtract from 90 there. And this was, yeah. So now our next one. $82.6. These are positive, by the way. $82.5. And the last one is 87, no, 85.6. No, 80. That's how hard this is, guys. We're going to go with 86. So now I subtract from 90. I have 5 degrees on the front left. I have 7.4 front left center. I have 7.5 front right center. And I have 4.0 on the front right. Okay, so those are all my angle measurements for the front bumper. I'm going to perform the calculations for the other ones now, which are pretty simple. You just add them up and divide it by 4. So 0.4, 0.5, 0.6. Use the calculator so we don't make mistakes, because we make lots of mistakes. 0.15. And then for the rear, 245. So 0.5 divided by 4 is 0.125. So now the front measurement average plus the rear measurement average divided by 2. So 0.125 plus 0.15 divided by 2. That gives me 0.2. And the difference between the front measurement average and the rear is definitely less than 0.2 degrees. And the front measurement average and the rear measurement average are not more than 0.37, they're at 0.2. So this meets the criteria. Again, I've done this multiple times. I don't need to. I'm doing it essentially so you guys see what the process is and how to do it. So now that I am essentially ready, I'm going to just confirm a couple things in Toyota's data to make sure that my angles are within spec. The sensor locations definitely are. So I mean, I can show this afterwards, but front corners. Confirm the grill. Oh, this is the mesh type grill. Okay. For the mesh type grill, I am definitely within spec. So now let's check our sensors. We're allowed 3 to 9 in the centers, and 1 to 8 in the corners. We are fully within specification. Sorry about that, guys. So I'm going to prepare to enter all this data, and I'm going to set up the millimeter wave radar calibration as well. Sorry, guys. Okay, so I'm back. Toyota spec states this needs to be 659 millimeters. I use my millimeter ruler, set everything up, and measure it out. Okay, so I am at height. Okay, so now I can place my target. And I'm going to show you why things were done in the manner they were done before. So because of the way that I set this up, my only goal is to make this perfectly perpendicular to the car. So you can see, sorry guys, let's try this again. You can see my center line that we set from the back of the car is lining up perfectly with the target. And you can see that my 90 is giving me the frame of reference. So this way my target is not crooked, right? Because that makes a huge deal because it's sending the signal in a different direction than it should be going. So I'm going to readjust this, but just wanted to show you guys why I do this. So I'm actually going to move the camera up over there to see if I can show you guys the Techstream screen as I prepare to finish up these functions. While I'm here, I'll show you guys that. So there's my sheet all filled out. And now let me see if I can get this screen over here so you can see how I close this out. So I've already done a scan on this vehicle. And I have left Techstream prepared to do the millimeter wave calibration right from the go. So Techstream is a little slow. It works really good, Toyota. We are not complaining. We will take it. But when you want to do things with speed,
This is something that we adapted to that just makes things go a little bit faster. So we have it ready to go. It would probably help if we plugged in our port. Okay. So before we perform our adjustment, we're going to do the misalignment reading, and we're going to do the offset reading. So misalignment reading first. Now our offset reading. And now we're going to not lean on the car and perform our axis adjustment. So it is complete. Now let us do our misalignment reading again. Let us do our offset reading again. I'm very satisfied with those results. We will go to history clear from here. Clear. Exit. All right, so our millimeter wave radar calibration is completed. So now we are going to move on to the Sonar registration. And I will show you that Toyota will tell you exactly where to get this started. So body electrical, advanced parking guidance, ICS, intuitive PA utility. So that's a mouthful, right? We're going to go body electrical, advanced parking guidance. So go back to system select, advanced parking guidance. Pretty sure it wants me to go to the utility, but hopefully I'm not messing that up. I believe that's it, but we can go back and confirm. PA detection steering adjustment. Perfect. So now we enter this utility screen, and they're going to want this data. So they're asking me if I change the intuitive ECU, battery or steering sensor, or if I removed or replaced the front bumper or the rear bumper. So in this case, we did the front bumper. We're going to hit next, next. So it wants the degrees based on your calculations. So front left center. Make sure you get this right. So I don't want to mess this up because I don't want to do it again. So front left center, right there. So that is driver side center, and then it's passenger side center. So that one was 7.4. This one is 7.5. You press next. Now they want to know the front left and the front right. So front left was 5.0. The front right was 86 4.0. And we hit next. And it gives us a confirmation screen and asks us if we want to write it, which we do. And now that is complete. So short of a system scan, which I'll let it run now, you can see that we have completed a millimeter wave radar calibration and a parking registration, I think in just about an hour or maybe slightly under. I don't remember exactly when we started, but I know that we're around the hour line. So I am just going to let this complete, put a couple things away, and then I will join you guys for some questions if you have them. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. I truly hope that I provided you a ton of information and value. Don't want to make the mistake of turning the car off or unplugging the battery maintainer until this is done. Ask me how I know that, guys. So it's going to display codes. If we don't have any, I mean, we may, I don't think so, but maybe some codes set while we were performing the checks, the alignment checks for the millimeter wave radar, things like that. Nope, all good. No codes. I will just save this, print, final post scan after calibrations, save. Now I can turn my key off. So I want to just let you guys in on a funny secret. The first time I did this, just the parking sensor registration probably took me 3 hours. That's how serious I take what I do, and how much I want to make sure I'm doing it correctly. And since then, just repeatedly trying over and over again, narrowing down my mistakes and trying to avoid them, finding better ways to line up cars instead of using wheel clamps. Your setup is only as good as you are, and I really want to reiterate that. It doesn't matter what ADAS equipment you use. You can buy OE stuff and just stick to what you want to. If you want to work on Hondas, you buy Honda's OE stuff. If you want to work on Toyotas, you buy Toyota's OE stuff. You use what I've shown you today and keep practicing, you will get this good at it. I know there's a few guys out there that can do this pretty quickly, but it takes time. None of them got here today. So just keep that in mind as you tackle ADAS and learn how to do this in your own shops. And just keep pushing the envelope, guys. Don't stop. I'll meet you inside in 2 minutes. I've got this all taken care of for now.
All right, everybody. I hope you guys can hear me. Thank you for everybody that attended. If you have any questions, please feel free to let me know, and I will do my best to answer them or to get you an answer as soon as I possibly can. Okay, so I don't see any questions. You guys can reach out to me on LinkedIn or through Complete Auto Reports website or Joe Mann Auto Service website. If you have any questions, feel free to send me an email. Thank you, everybody, for attending the event. Seriously, hope you guys found value in what we provided. Enjoy your weekend. Talk to you guys soon.